There are many different types of plants within the Plants vs. Zombies franchise, including pult plants. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you every single pult plant from the original Plants vs. Zombies game all the way up until Plants vs. Zombies 3, starting off with Plants vs. Zombies 1 with the cabbage pult. You unlock this plant right at the end of the fog world, and it's basically necessary for the beginning of the roof world, as well there's barely any other plants you could use besides this one, at least for the beginning. And while this plant's not that bad, it's definitely not the best pult plant out there, so it's sort of a beginner one, as well it costs 100 sun and deals 40 damage. And while it's probably the worst pult plant in the game, though it still ends up working pretty well right at the beginning of the roof world, and it's honestly not that bad. Now next we have the kernel pult. The kernel pult has a chance of shooting butter at the zombies. I'll temporarily stun them. It'll deal a total of 40 damage. And when it normally shoots the kernels, it only deals 20 damage, and it has the exact same firing rate as the cabbage pult, so sometimes the cabbage pult could be better, but if you get good luck with the kernel pult shooting a ton of butter, it could actually be a lot better. And well, next we have the melon pult. This plant costs 300 sun, though it's definitely worth it, as well as a really powerful plant. As well, it directly attacks one zombie, dealing 80 damage, though it also does splash damage in a 3x3 area that deals 30 damage, which is almost the exact same as the normal cabbage pult and kernel pult, which is really good. As well, not only does it deal 80 damage directly, it also does 30 damage to all the zombies around that zombie, so it's really good. And while it would definitely be the best pult plant in this game if it wasn't for the upgraded version of it being the winter melon. As well, the winter melon costs an additional 200 sun, meaning that to fully upgrade it, you need a total of 500 sun, that was definitely worth it. As well, it deals the exact same amount of damage as a normal melon pult, as well it deals 80 damage directly and deals 30 damage in a 3x3 area. Though in that 3x3 area, it also chills every single zombie, which is really overpowered. As well, it slows down the zombies by about half the normal speed, which is really good. And well, because of that, not only is it one of the best plants in the entire game, it's by far the best pult plant in the game, and moving on to the next game, we have Plants vs. Zombies 2. Now, the first new pult plant in this game is the pepper pult. This plant costs 200 sun, it has a 20-second recharge time, and it only deals 50 damage. And while for a beginner pult plant in the Frostbite Caves world, honestly, 50 damage really isn't that bad. As well, as not the damage part that's the problem, it's actually the sun cost, as well 200 sun is way too overpriced. As well, especially now with all the new premium plans, 200 sun is just way too much for this plant to be usable at all. It also has a really weird 20-second recharge time, which makes no sense, as well it by far has the most recharge time for any pult plant in the game. As well, the majority of the pult plants have around a 5 to 10 second recharge time, so having 20 seconds really nerfs it. And while just like every other warming plant, it's able to warm in a 3x3 area to unfreeze frozen plants, though besides that, it's not really that good. Now next we have a really good pult plant being the dust lobber. And while even though normally it only deals 30 damage, the main thing about this plant is that it's a shadow plant, so when powered up by the moonflower, it becomes extremely overpowered. As well as by far the best shadow plant in the game, as well it deals an insane amount of damage, and it also has a really fast firing rate. It also costs less than the pepper pult, being 150 sun, and also has only a 10-second recharge time. So overall, compared to the pepper pult, this plant is 10 times better, as well as a much more reasonable price, and also does a lot more damage. Now moving on from the adventure mode plants, starting off with a blooming heart that costs 150 sun and deals 40 damage. And while at first, for all the stats and everything, it seems to be pretty good. It lobs hearts at the zombies that deal around 40 damage, though the main bad thing about this plant is the attack rate. As well, for some reason, PopCap decided that this plant would only attack every 3 seconds. Which is really slow, and I'm pretty sure it's the slowest lobbing plant in the entire game, and I have no idea why it does that. As well, 3 seconds is a really long time for any plant, especially a lobbing plant, and since it could only deal 40 damage every 3 seconds, it's just not worth it. So honestly, all they have to do is cut the attack rate in half and it would be a pretty good lobbing plant. Now next we have a stalling plant being the sapling. This plant only costs 75 sun, it has a 5-second recharge time, and shoots every 3 seconds. Though unlike the blooming heart, the fact that it shoots every 3 seconds sort of makes sense, as well it makes one sticky tile every 3 seconds, which is really good. As well, these tiles majorly slow down the zombie by about half their speed, which is really overpowered. And well, since these tiles last for a really long time, and since he could create one of them every 3 seconds, he could cover the entire lane. As well, if you place an entire row of these, the entire lawn will quite literally be entirely filled up with sap, so it's really good. And well, is one of the only pult plants in the entire franchise that's mainly used as a stalling plant. Now next we have the turkey pult. This plant shoots tofu turkeys down the lane that will attack the zombies and start eating them. And while these tofu turkeys actually deal a pretty good amount of damage, as well every single time it attacks a zombie it deals 10 damage. Though it does have a pretty fast attacking rate, as well it eats the zombies just like a zombie chicken or a zombie turkey would eat the plants. So because of that, it could end up dealing a pretty good amount of damage, and it shoots a turkey every couple of seconds and it only costs 150 sun. Now next we have the sticky bomb rice that shoots rice bombs at the zombies that deal a really high amount of damage. And while it only deals 40 damage normally, though it actually has a chain effect, meaning that it could deal even more damage every single time it attacks a zombie. So because of that, even though it only deals 40 damage at first, the damage could go up by a lot over time, and it costs 225 sun, which is definitely worth it. As well, it does have a pretty high sun cost, so it literally shoots bombs at the zombies, so it's definitely worth it. Now moving on to Plants vs Zombies 2 China, first we have the Lily of Alchemy. This plant lobs flowers at the zombies that are able to poison them, dealing 30 damage every couple of seconds. And while the poison effect could actually be stacked, so even though it starts at 30 damage every few seconds, it could go higher and higher every single time the Lily of Alchemy attacks the zombie. And while the actual flowers themselves also deal 30 damage, and the plant costs 175 sun, it has a 20-second recharge time, which is honestly some pretty good stats for what it does. Now next we have the Elacarpus, which is able to shoot projectiles at the zombies and deal different amounts of damage, varying on how close or how far away the zombies are from him. As well, if the zombies are really close, they'll only deal around 30 damage, but if they're really far away, it could deal up to 100 damage per hit, which is really good. As well, it has a 2.4 second attack rate, meaning that if the zombies are right at the beginning of the lawn, it could be very powerful. As well, especially right at the beginning of the wave, if you have a whole row of these, you could end up dealing an insane amount of damage to all the zombies at the beginning of the lawn. So yeah, it's definitely a really interesting concept for a plant, and it costs 200 sun, it has a really good 10-second recharge time. Now next we have the Frost Rambutan, which is able to shoot snowballs at the zombies that have a chance of freezing the attacked zombies or instantly killing them in some cases. As well, there's a really low chance that the Frost Rambutan could instantly kill a zombie, which is extremely overpowered, and it also has a chance of freezing the zombies. And while normally it'll deal a total of 100 damage and 50 splash damage in a 3x3 area, which is really good. And while it attacks every 3 seconds, which is actually pretty good, as well it deals 100 damage and 50 splash damage in the area, so it actually makes sense to have a 3-second attack rate. And while it is pretty expensive, as well it costs 250 sun, though for the amount of damage that it deals, it's not really that bad. Now moving on to Plants vs Zombies Online, we have the Pomegranate. Now the pomegranate is a pretty weak lobbing plant that's able to shoot these small pomegranates at the zombies that are just the seeds, and they're pretty effective towards armor, but for normal zombies they deal a lot less damage. As well, normally they only deal 40 damage, though when attacking an armored zombie like a knight zombie or a buckethead zombie, it deals 160 damage, which is extremely overpowered. And while I have no idea why is that powerful, as well 160 damage for a zombie simply wearing armor is extremely good. And while it's one of the most powerful lobbing plants in the entire video, but not attacking any armored plants is not really that good, but for attacking zombies that have armor it's extremely overpowered, and it shoots seeds every 3 seconds. So honestly, if you're attacking the correct zombie, it's actually extremely overpowered, and it only costs 200 sun, which is really good for what it does. Now moving on to Plants vs Zombies All-Stars, starting off with the Kernel Pult line, with the second evolution of it being the Popcorn Pult. The Popcorn Pult is simply just an upgraded version of the Kernel Pult that could deal a lot more damage, and it could also attack twice at the exact same time. And while for the Melon Pult line, for the first evolution, we have the Melon Slice Pult, which is simply just a weaker version of the normal melon pole that obviously deals less damage and is less efficient. And while both of these new evolution plants have literally never appeared since this game, and they seem to have been completely forgotten. And while moving on to Plants vs Zombies 3, we have the Caramel Popcorn, which is only in the pre-2021 version of the game. As well as most people know by now, Plants vs Zombies 3 has had an insane amount of different versions of it, and this is only in the pre-2021 version of it. And well, it's simply just a variant of the kernel pult that's able to lob popcorn and caramel blobs at the zombies that are able to stick on the ground, very similar to the sapling. As well as literally just a combination of the sapling and the kernel pult, as well. It literally does the exact same thing as the sapling, except that it's able to deal more damage, obviously. And while the actual design of it looks really weird, as well as literally just a recolored version of the normal kernel pult. But yeah, comment down below which pult plant do you think is the best and which is your favorite, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, then please like, subscribe, and have a great day.